Wow, okay. Here we have another record day. It's not the good kind. I'm in a good mood now, but as you'll learn shortly, it was a day of swearing, of anger, of almost punching a wall. I was really not in a good mood after the trouble I had today. None of it was related really to my trades. I did take one super FOMO trade pre market that I'll recap in a bit. But first, I'm going to play two videos for you that I took during my day. I took one before I left to go eat breakfast and one after. So I'll just let those play and you'll understand a bit about the situation that took place today and why it took me a very long time to even decipher that this was my result for today. Hey guys, this is Alex, and I'm going to make this video right now. This is a live shot of my broker screen, and I just have absolutely no idea what's going on today. I'm currently experiencing some hotkey issues. I'll be quiet for a second, and I'll let you listen. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's me smashing the sell on the bid key for all my position that I still am currently stuck in on DTSS. I had the same trouble with WWR. The only real trade that, my first two trades down here, those were fine. Everything went the way that they were supposed to there. The trouble started immediately after I entered this short position on WWR. And after that, every single order on WWR was not what I wanted it to be. I've experienced 20 and 30-minute delays on my orders going through. I would hit the key, nothing would happen. I would hit the key again, nothing would happen. And then like 15 minutes later, I would see orders pop up and execute on my order screen that I haven't touched in 10 minutes. I wouldn't touch my hotkey in like 10 minutes, and then the order that I put in 25 minutes ago would suddenly pop up. And right now, I'm pretty sure I'm just going to scrap this entire day, which sucks because at one point, I should have closed this day up $282, I believe, was my stopping point. And I don't know what to do. I emailed DAS Trader at 9:24 a.m. I have yet to hear back from them right now. It's 11:11. And I think right now I'm just going to leave. Like I tried to exit multiple trades on WWR, green ones, red ones. I'm at a loss. I have no idea. I've never had this problem before. This is a problem that I've never heard of. I just talked to a couple trading buddies. They don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I traded with SureTrader, which is exactly the same platform, for about a year and something, a bit more than a year. And I've never experienced anything like this. I did have a couple of hotkey problems, but it was later revealed that those problems were my fault. This is not my fault. My hotkeys haven't changed in more than a year on either SureTrader or DAS Trader. I have no idea. I'm just at a loss, and I'm really frustrated. I'm probably going to end up scrapping this entire day, and who knows, maybe even tomorrow. I might not even be able to trade tomorrow. Like, I can't close this position right now that I have open on DTSS, DTSS, and I just don't know what I'm going to do. I might have to skip a few days here. Like, if I can't get out of this trade, then my buying power is going to get tied up. I might get margin called overnight. I'm really frustrated. I'm really angry. And right now, I'm just going to go for breakfast and console myself a little bit here and hope that when I get back that DAS Trader has replied to me and can give me some sort of answer as to what the hell's going on, because I've never seen anything like this and I don't know how to handle it. And I'm really pissed off that I missed this day. And I'm going to hopefully be able to stick a recap onto this video later. But for now, I don't know what's going on. So I'll talk to you guys later. Okay, so I'm back from lunch now. I feel a lot better for a few reasons. I also feel very stupid because it just occurred to me to try a solution that I don't know why I didn't think about at the time. But I restarted my computer and I opened up DAS Trader and everything worked again. So now I feel like an imbecile. I still don't know what the problem was, however, and I do want to get to the bottom of it. DAS Trader did reply to my email. However, they didn't really offer a solution. They were just asking for more information, which I can't really give them. And at the same time, when I got back from lunch, I found DTSS had moved all the way back up and it's now surging past $7. So anyway, I've exited that trade. It's not going to count. I did make a lot of progress over breakfast, lunch, whatever, as to how I'm going to figure out how to manage this day and how to like rectify the problems that I had on this day. What I'm going to do is count all the trades where zero problems took place. So, for instance, these two right here, these are valid. My first trade on DSST right here was another one, but everything in between on WWR is not going to count. The only exception is going to be this short. This should have been a stop out at approximately 670. I'm going to find a live video of that tape and try to estimate where I would have been able to get out had my hotkey worked. I'm probably going to punish myself with a little bit of slippage just to play it safe, to keep things as realistic as possible, because this problem I had was not realistic at all. So I'm going to fulfill this recap. I'm going to do all the trades, and then I'll come back to this recap and complete it. So when all the dust settled and when I figured it all out, these are the four trades that I was left with. I'm going to go through at least the first three, because those are the three that led to all the problems I was having. And then I'm going to speculate a bit about what I thought the problem was. And anyway, we'll get to that in a bit. You'll see what I mean. So after waking up bright and early, great discipline routine, everything went amazing. I had great sleep and I felt amazing. I came into the day expecting a lot of momentum and I wanted to be ready for it. And I did all of that. I did a great job pre-market, and my first trade of the day took place at 8:47. I had been at my desk since I think 8:20. And this is what I saw. And I was a little bit put off by the way that WWR pulled back. So harsh, like it popped up and then came back below. And what I was looking for on this trade was an entry above 365. However, I ended up getting filled pretty high. As you can see here, my 250 shares got taken at 386. Now, there was a little bit of volume, but it wasn't super, really clear cut. The level 2 and the tape were looking good, but the volume was still pretty light. So long story short, I took a scalp, what turned out to be a scalp, and my target was about 420. You can see on the daily chart over here that the 100 moving average, which is the blue line, the light blue line, and then this bottom yellow line coincided with each other. And I thought that was definitely going to cause resistance. So when it continued up on volume, spiking up, blowing through $4, I thought, okay, great. And I exited the trade at 411. And as it bounced off 420, everything slowed down. And I thought, oh man, I'm such a genius. Like, wow, this is so perfect. I knew it was going to reverse. Oh, I'm so smart. And, long story short, this followed shortly after. And what can I say? I didn't think that this bit down here was really strong enough. The size of the pullback and the volume pattern that was happening, I wasn't super confident. And then throughout this entire move up, I kept telling myself, oh, well, it's too high. I can't get in now. I'd just be chasing it. And then it would go higher and I'd think, should I get it now? And then I'd repeat the process. No, I can't get it now. I would just be chasing it. And I eventually succumbed to FOMO. You can see my second entry on this. I got back in with half size, which just goes to show you what a bad entry it was, at 692 at 906, which is basically at the top of this long body candle, which is possibly the worst entry that I've taken in this account so far. And of course the market punished me. When does the market not punish you for stupid things? And it came all the way back down. And even on my exit was stupid as well. It was supposed to be I was supposed to be risking off 660, and it blew through that, and I basically exited at the bottom of this bottoming tail right here, or close to the bottom anyway. And I just let myself get spooked out, and I got 20 cents of slippage as a result. And that trade deleted all my profit from my first trade. I went from being up about $65 to being down, I think it was $10.93 or something like that. So at that point, I decided, okay, this is a danger sign. I'm going to step away. I locked my level 2. I went outside. I took a breath of fresh air / a breath of cigarette, and I hung out and just calmed down for a couple of minutes, and then came back later with a fresh attitude. I really did a good job of calming myself down during that break outside. So when I came back from my break with a renewed attitude and feeling, hey, it's not that bad. You made one mistake. Stay focused on the prize today. There's going to be momentum and you have to be sharp. And that's the attitude I came back with. And I was happy about that. And what I found when I got back was pretty much this. I had seen WWR stair-stepping down, and it seemed to me that the most logical thing for it to do would be to crash. I mean, the VWAP at that time was down around $5 or four something, and I thought a pretty heavy retracement was likely to be in order. And so what I was looking at was to take a starting short position below 640 with the intention of adding to it below this line here and then adding again below this line here, with my first target being the VWAP and my final back of the mind target being the $4 support level that had been seen previously on the rise up. So when on the next 1 minute candle, when the price broke below 640, I took a starter position of 125 shares at 632. And my first stop was going to be at 670, with my secondary and tertiary stops going to be at these lines up here. So my absolute max risk on this was approximately 60 cents. But at the same time, I was ready to stop out early if I saw too much momentum come into the stock. Because, I mean, this thing had already shown a parabolic potential, and I didn't want to get caught on the short side. You know, getting caught on a short squeeze is absolutely no fun. And so I was pretty much viewing 670 as my primary stop area. Now, this point in the day is when things started to go south with the order problem and everything. I'll close this chart up now that you know the setup, and I'll show you another stock. Here's one. So you see this S right here on the level 2? That means shortable. If I hover over it, it says shortable. And then it'll give you a value as to how shortable it is. Now, on WWR, this S was visible. And this is why, when I saw the short setup, I thought, okay, perfect. I do have shares available. This is great. But the second I took my entry, I noticed the S disappeared. And looking back, this is likely to have been just a coincidence that the stock became not shortable the moment that I punched my order. I do think, however, that it's a little too big of a coincidence given what happened after it, because this was the last order on WWR throughout the entire day until I restarted my computer that really worked perfectly. And I noticed problems on the next few candles when I tried to get out of it as it curled back up. These two candles right here didn't bother me too much, but the volume spike on this one did. And I started hitting the hotkey, which just as a side note, when I short a stock, I don't have hotkeys. So the way that I entered my short position, it looked like this. I had an order at 620, knowing that it would fill on the bid side. The bid side was 632. And so I typed in 125 shares, typed in 620, and hit the short key. And that's how I entered this order here. Now, on the covering side, it's a little bit different. I can use my buy keys in order to cover. And so that's typically what I do because it's a lot faster. And the cover key that I tried to use was the hold on. I showed it to you yesterday, but I'll show it again. It's this one, the buy at the ask +2. And so once I saw the volume surge through here, I think my first attempt to get out was around 662. In any case, this was the start of the problems. So I'll give you a moment here with my trades window. So this is where I took my short. This was the start of the problems on WWR. In between this area and my entry on DTSS, these are all the ones that don't make a ton of sense. And it happened later as well on DTSS on my second trade, where there were random buy orders that I had punched in between this first entry at 457. I had hit buy like a bunch of times in between, and the only one that filled, I think, was my first one. It's super hard to tell. Like, the patterns just don't exist. I really can't make sense of it. Even in retrospect, I'm super confused because what I'm noticing is that I pressed way more buttons than what's represented here. I must have hit like I even tried buy 1,000 a couple times, and there are zero buy 1,000 orders that went through. The only ones that seem to have gone through are add-ons for a half position and buy on the ask. And I'm not even gonna speculate too much, but the only pattern that I did notice after I closed my DTSS trade was that the problem persisted only after the first trade. And even then, there's an inconsistency because my first two trades on WWR were fine. There were nothing wrong with those. This was just me being an idiot, this one. And the other ones were like, and holy shit, does it ever not show? There was one spot, I won't bother showing you, but there was one spike on the 1 minute chart that I captured perfectly with the buttons I was pressing, but the result of it, 15 minutes later or something, I would look up at my positions window, and my position would be like 3.5 times what I expected it to be, and I would just see flashes in the order window up here that would come up, it would flash and get accepted, and then I'd have more or less shares than I did, and like I am still at a loss. This is now several hours later since I closed this day. I've taken 0 practice trades today. These are all the result of like delayed orders. And I will point out now, something I forgot to mention up to now, is that I didn't just try hotkeys. I tried punching in this window. I tried selecting the prices like this, manually clicking on them. I tried all kinds of stuff. I tried changing the order type to stops, all kinds of stuff, and nothing worked. Nothing would go through immediately. The only exception was my first trade on DTSS, which made me think that, okay, this is just a WWR problem, and I'll just have to trade other symbols and everything will be fine. And that wasn't the case. It later was revealed that my second trade, I entered the same thing. Like I said in that video before I went to lunch, is that I was stuck in a position in DTSS and I couldn't get out. And it's been a couple hours since I checked my email, but I'm hoping there's more information coming from Dash Trader right now, because I'd love to know what happened, and I really just want there to be a definitive answer, because I don't want this to happen again ever. I can't even describe to you the frustration, the anger that was building. Like, this is the most mad I've ever been while trading in my life. And even though I have a pretty short fuse away from stuff like trading, when it comes to high pressure situations like trading or like playing poker, I am a Buddhist monk. It's crazy how I change from my on the street personality to my risk management personality. But in trading, I very rarely get frustrated. And even when I do, I manage it well. I recognize it. I'm experienced enough to know that, okay, my body temperature is rising. It's time to walk away. And in this day, what I was going through on WWR, in the background, I had the Velocity chat room open, and I could hear everybody talking about, oh, this stock is halting, this one's going up and squeezing, and oh my god, it's crazy, this is amazing, we just banked 2,000, some other guy just made 500, and I'm sitting here just getting slaughtered by these brutal fills that were catching me off guard. And so it was super frustrating. And now it's not so bad. Now that I've gone over everything and I've realized that, okay, it wasn't as good as I thought, I do have to delete my profitable trades on WWR. Those aren't going to be able to count. I can't justify booking them with the way that they happened. But my first trade on DTSS was fine. Everything went the way it was supposed to in terms of order entries. I mean, yes, obviously this sucks that I caught a bottom tick there on my last quarter. But I mean, if we look at the trade log here, I'll blow it up and go back to 2019. So this is all the results in my account so far. This is far and away the biggest single trade out result that I've got in my simulator. I've had bigger results in my practice trades, but I mean, 24%, if I scroll up here, blows everything else out of the water. It's the only double-digit ROI that I've got. And it now makes my best-worst ratio, which it even beats my horrible first trade on PSTV. So there's a lot of good things that came out of that trade. And boy, am I ever happy that I didn't have to delete it, because when I made that first video before I went for breakfast, I thought, like, oh my god, like, I could have made so much money today. I mean, my P&L right now is showing 660. That isn't the case. I will reset that to what it's supposed to be, the 200 and something. But the if everything had gone the way it was supposed to go today, even knowing myself, even knowing that I often get spooked by flashes in the tape, I often mismanage trades on the upside. I sell a bit too quickly sometimes. I stop out a little too quickly sometimes. I do mismanage trades a lot. And despite all that, I'm pretty sure this would have been an absolute home run day. I'm pretty sure it would have been $600 to $800 winner. And it just, I felt so sorry for myself for while I was having breakfast. I spent basically all my breakfast just thinking, why today? Like, why couldn't this have happened on any of these crappy days back here? This period of 3 days where like everything was boring, the market was moving sideways, up basically everything up here. Why didn't this happen on this day? These days, why did it have to happen today on the biggest momentum day we've had in months? And even though I wasn't around for it, I talked to friends. I know what it's looked like over the past couple months, and like this momentum, this is the start of some serious, some serious ramping up in the market, and it bummed me out quite a bit. I'm kind of okay with it now. I mean, I did book almost exactly the same ROE result that I got yesterday. This is great progress, $219 winner. I'm going to open tomorrow with just under $2,450. That's great. That's going to open up a lot of buying power for me. It's going to let me start taking bigger positions. And, if nothing goes wrong tomorrow, then I should be able to really do some damage here and get some really big wins. And so I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I'm looking back on this day like, wow, what a joke. And how unfortunate for me to have this happen. But at the same time, I mean, it could have been worse. It could always be worse. I could have got caught in some serious pinches today, and I didn't. I avoided a lot of questionable setups, and even though it doesn't really show on my trades window, like I wish I had live video or not even video. I wish I had just recorded my thoughts. If I had been talking out loud into a microphone today, you would have heard the ideas that I had. And if we look at the charts, which I won't because it'll take too long, but if we look at the charts, I mean, you'll see the resolution on my ideas was really strong, and my confidence is really building right now. So that's a good thing. And confidence, when your confidence is high, generally good things happen. Just like when it's low, generally bad things happen. And so I'm not exactly looking to take a whole bunch of risk, but this is a solid cushion. We're up to almost 30% up in this account over 11 days. If I can continue that trend, I mean, I'm going to hit my goal in this account very quickly. And the goal here is to put myself in shape to go live. And speaking of which, I will throw in a closing note here that if you're in a simulator and the market is hot, you should be very, very careful about judging your results. I made this mistake myself last October when I was trading in a simulator from September and October, and coming into November, I went live again. And that's when things started to really get sketchy. And so I had a bunch of positive results to give me the confidence to go back live. And it ended up hurting me because I was trading in a really hot market. And that kind of gave me false confidence in what I was doing. It taught me bad lessons. And so in this account, it's a lot better. I started at a really dead time. I took a brutal loss on my first day. The first trade went horribly wrong. I lost my internet and all this. And even on the other days where nothing funky technical went wrong, I got hit with some bad ones. Even my winners were not that great. I had to scrape out $26, $1.39, And so in a simulator, if you're at the point of your trading education where you're just starting to get into a simulator, I recommend go a lot longer than most people tell you. A lot of people think that 1 to 3 months is a good enough sample size. I think honestly, you should probably do closer to 6 months or a year, because you might just be in a hot market and you might trick yourself into thinking that you're ready when you're not. And you have to make sure that you're able to sustain all the fees and all the overhead in a dry market. You have to teach yourself to go from hitting these home runs on trades like today on like right here. This isn't going to happen every day. This is a very rare occurrence. It happens maybe once a month that you can capture 24% on one trade, especially in 7 minutes. And this includes holding through a 5 minute halt. So really, this is 24% in like 2 minutes. And even then, this was a trade that went not as well as it should have. And one of the most valuable exercises that I play every day when I close, or yeah, when I close my day and I evaluate my trades, one of my favorite things to do and one of the most helpful things that I do for myself is I ask myself, how would I feel about this trade if it had gone completely the other way? So in this case, on let's say DTSS, this was a home run. Well, how would I felt about taking this trade if it went the other way and I'd stopped out at like 230? Would I have been as happy with the risk? And same thing when you have a loser. If your loser would have been something you're happy with if it went the other way, then it's a good trade when it goes badly. And that kind of helps you analyze what setups are best for you and whether or not you're taking stupid risks. For instance, a great example for me from today was where was it? This one. This one right here. If this had gone green, I would have looked back on this. Like, let's say it squeezed up to 750, halted, and went up to $9 or something stupid. I probably still would have looked back on this trade and been like, this was a dumb trade. This was absolutely me succumbing to FOMO, and this should never happen. And thankfully, it went red, so it's a lot easier for me to see. I can see I lost 8% in 2 minutes, and I was never in a position to win on this trade, and this is stupid. And so this is an easy to learn lesson, but you can also learn these lessons from your green trades. It doesn't have to be a winner. So just that's my 2 cents in terms of if you're a beginner and you're having trouble trying to analyze your trades with no experience. I think it's a really good practice to get into, to look back at every single trade and think about how you would feel about it if it had gone the other way. So that's a wrap for me for this recap. I'm not going to be taking any practice trades today, but I definitely will be messing around with the hotkeys to try out all kinds of different symbols, making sure the order entry window works, and keeping an eye out for replies to my emails from Dash Trader, because I really hope that they give me a distinct answer like, oops, sorry, this happens. But I'll keep you posted on that situation, because I do think Dash Trader is the single best simulator available on the market, at least out of the ones I've tried. I will be reviewing it at some point, so don't let these order problems affect your judgment of Dash Trader. I would still recommend it, despite the fact that I have no idea what happened today or anything like that. So take care, happy trading, and I'll see you at the next active day.